Thank you, Lisa and Susie. Beautiful music to start our evening. This is a special evening. I welcome you here for the beginning of Unity's World Day of Prayer. Myrtle Fillmore, you know, our co-founder of Unity, was the mother of prayer for us. As we know, she healed herself from You're not on? Or you're not on. I guess I'm not on. Am I on? Mm-hmm. Can you hear me now? Should I start over, or I can just... Myrtle Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, was the mother of prayer. She healed herself, as many of you know, from tuberculosis those many years ago when it was really fatal. But with prayer, she healed herself. Her friends and neighbors noticed that, of course, and they wanted her to pray with them. And so when they saw a light in her window, she had a lantern she'd keep in her window, and it was when on, her neighbors would know that she was praying. And soon they asked her to pray for them as well. It begins tonight at Unity Village. There's a service at the Unity Church where people gather, and then at the end, they're given candles. And we walk across the path over the bridge of faith with our candles into the Unity Chapel to begin that 24 hours of prayer. When they built the Silent Unity building many years ago, they took the lantern that Myrtle used in her home and kept it up there in Silent Unity. They don't need it now because we have electricity out there, but they did keep the lantern. So I arrived at Unity Village in 1996 to attend ministerial school. And as a taxi drove up into the campus, everybody was anxious to see that tower, the Silent Unity Tower, where that light was on all the time. Well, they're not using the tower now. They built a new building, but there is the window, and there's that light in the window 24/7, so you always know someone is there praying. And when you're walking the campus, whether at night or during the day, and you look up and you see that light in the window, it's probably the most reassuring feeling you can imagine. The telephone banks are ringing all the time. They have another large area where the writers are that will send letters out to you if you made a prayer request. I always ask for one because I love to have it and read it over and over concerning the prayer that I was asking. It's just a wonderful, wonderful tradition. The World Day of Prayer is beginning, and at that moment, the back door opens, and they bring the lantern from Silent Unity into the chapel. And this is the same lantern that Myrtle used when she was praying in her home. For me, seeing that lantern coming down that aisle created a feeling in me that I'm not sure I can ever fully express. It was the beginning of this wonderful, I get chills, wonderful opportunity to pray with millions of people all around the world and have Silent Unity Room now be in the Unity Chapel. We have changed that room, so now the chapel is now the Silent Unity Room. People will be praying in this room for 24 hours. They come in shifts. They come in and pray, go home and sleep, and come back. Hundreds of people are participating in this. From the village, from the school, all the ministerial candidates, we're all a part of this. And there are packets, hundreds of packets, with hundreds of prayers in each packet tied together, lined up on the platform. And so when that bell rings, and that 24 hours begins, we go up and everybody gathers a packet, we open it, and every prayer in there is verbally prayed with. We say that name or the request aloud, so you can hear this quiet buzz through the room, knowing that every prayer is being prayed with. And that's happening this evening, right now, at Unity Village for 24 hours. When you hear that buzz in the room, you know there is no doubt that the presence of God is in this very room. All is well with my soul.
In the sun silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for this precious moment, and I hear all that can never be said. And right here in this holy silence, I find God. I find myself in the silence. There is peace. In the silence, there is unspoken joy. In the silence, there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for all these precious moments, and I hear all that can never be said. And right here in this holy silence, I find God. I find myself. 'Cause in the silence there is peace.
Thank you, Reverend Amy, and thank you, Lisa Arundale. I'm Reverend Dr. Susie Shadle, and I welcome you to Unity World Day of Prayer. Reverend Amy asked each of us to find a reading that we would share this evening, and I didn't find one that I liked, so I wrote one. It's called Deep Within. At this time of great challenges, we must shift our minds and our hearts to align with our divine essence and potential, to create a world that works for everyone and all, a world in which all is well with our souls. And this is a life journey that begins within ourselves, but atonement, at-one-ment, can only be completed with one another, so that we truly live from knowing that we are all one. And as we reveal and express our divine essence and potential, we encounter the diversity of our uniqueness, our otherness. And as we explore it more deeply, we realize that this very uniqueness, diversity, and otherness is embraced within the unity of our oneness. This whole world is made up of individual consciousnesses, and as we raise our own consciousness, we begin to shift the global mind field to awaken and resonate with one another and live from our collective divine potential. What inner shift can you make to tune into the vibration of the Most High, the resonance of Father, Mother, God, Spirit? Go deep within to the center of your own being. To fully know oneself is to know the divine, and to know the divine is to know the other, and to realize that there is no other, there is only one. no self, no other, no the divine. It all begins and ends with the one Spirit. Contemplate in the silence, the prayer of silence that Lisa just sang. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said. And right here, in this holy silence, I find God. I find myself. And all is well with my soul.
There is a light that guides you through the storm. There is a place of healing and calm. There is a peace that lives beneath the waves, beneath the sorrow and the joy. There is stillness and grace. Your tears like rain are falling from the sky. My friend, bring healing. For the heart that breaks is what opening again. For the heart that breaks is what opening.
Thank you, Lisa and Reverend Susie. I am Reverend Robin G. White, and I am bringing this reading called Thankful, from my book, Reflections of a Life Well Spent. On May 10th and 12th in 2011, after 3 short years of knowing them, my biological father and mother made their transition to ancestors some 1,500 miles apart. This poem is dedicated to the very many who are grieving during this challenging time. In gratitude, may we know that all is well. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his steadfast love endures forever. Psalm 107:1. The words don't come and I can't force them. They feel jumbled inside or tied up in knots, one I just can't tell. It's like when someone asks, are you staying or going, and you don't know because you can't wrap your brain around it. You know either decision will be fine or wrong, but you have to make one because both decisions can't occupy the same space. And that is the way it is with this grief. It can't occupy the same space as my joy. My heart won't allow me to serve two masters. And so, I am thankful for the steadfast, unchanging, and enduring love. I'm grateful for the many ways that love manifests itself, the people, the angels, the quiet smiles and brief exchanges no one else sees. I'm grateful for the vault of prayer constantly replenished. I'm grateful for the quiet voice reaching through 30 years of pain to unleash it. I'm grateful for the hands which hold me when I weep and the heart which beats for mine when it feels broken. I am grateful for the plates of pub food and knishes and grateful with giggles for the admonishment for eating them. I'm grateful for the delight in my words and for being one of only two poets. I'm grateful for the name-calling, Nikki, Maya, Tony, Mahalia, and the sweet voice which honors me with them. I'm grateful for the families named Biggs, White, and Young, and for each of them claiming me and bearing me 17 loves, and 50 more by extension. I'm grateful for the dip in the river and the silent voices praying me back upstream. I'm grateful for the entire state of Connecticut and New York and Florida while I'm at it, and for moments forgotten filled with laughter and song late on Sunday afternoons, moments I shall live so long to forget. I'm grateful for late night phone calls and early morning ones as well. I'm grateful for all day texts, the inbox messages, the little love notes. I am grateful for the whispered hints of something more. I'm grateful for beauty and delight. I'm grateful for the gratitude for those who see me. I'm grateful for friendships old and new, born and reborn. I'm grateful for peace. I'm grateful for the couch in the living room harboring the owner of my bed. I'm grateful for her children and hers and more. I'm grateful for my children and the names that call me Bobby with the exclamation point for all the joy attached to that name. I'm grateful for the soft rain, the shedding leaves, the windswept streets, the purple velvet haze of autumn sunsets, and the steel-gray dervish tides of New England winters. I'm grateful for the promise of downy cold and glowing fireplaces, for seeking warmer climes and knowing I can have them at will, grateful for faith and prosperity, love and more words with deeper meaning spoken in eloquence by those who understand them. I'm grateful for the remarkable power and presence of prayer. I'm grateful even for those who could not stay. I'm grateful for healing hands which gently hold my heart, even when they don't know that I know that they are holding me. I'm grateful for mirror images reflecting of living creators, how long I've wished for you and love, love, love your presence. I am grateful for the wise voice speaking across volcanoes and oceans, continents, cities, circumstances to share a word and a blessing. I'm grateful for those who've known me since childhood and those who've known me before adulthood claimed me, and for those who've known me since spirit claimed me back. I'm grateful for my joy, my love. I'm grateful even more for my grief. For in this grief, I've been given new eyes with which to see, and they are trained on love. All is well with my soul.
O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be loved as to be loved, to be understood as to understand. For it is in giving that we receive, and in pardoning we are pardoned, and in dying we are born again. Lord, please make me an instrument of thy peace, 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 of thy peace.
My reading tonight is from the book The Prophet by Cahill Gibran. Now, this book was first published in 1923. Now, the book I'm reading from is a copy of the 87th printing given to me by my sister Bonnie in December of 1971. I can tell you that this book launched me into new thought. The story goes as this. The prophet, Al-Mustafa, is preparing to leave the city of Orphalisa, which he had stayed for 12 years, and now he was leaving to return to the isle of his birth. As Al-Mustafa prepares to leave, a crowd gathers, and he was reluctant to speak to them because of his love of them made him sad in his leaving. Then Almitra, the seeress, came before him, and she entreated him to speak. The community asked him 26 questions, and he gave 26 answers, each of which make up the core of the book. Tonight, I will read you the 22nd question. Then a priestess said, "Speak to us of prayer." And he answered, saying, "You pray in your distress and in your need. Would you that you might pray also in the fullness of your joy and in your days of abundance? For what is prayer but the expansion of yourself into the living ether? And if it is for your comfort to pour your darkness into space, it is also for your delight to pour forth the dawning of your heart. And if you cannot but weep when your soul summons you to prayer, she would spur you again and say yet again, though weeping, until you shall come laughing. When you pray, you rise to meet in the air those who are praying at that very hour, and whom, save in prayer, you may not meet. Therefore, let your visit to that temple, invisible, be for naught but ecstasy and sweet communion. For if you should enter the temple for no other purpose than asking, you shall not receive. And if you should enter into it to humble yourself, you shall not be lifted. Or even if you should enter into it to beg for the good of others, you shall not be heard. It is enough that you enter the temple invisible. I cannot teach you how to pray in words. God listens not to your words, save when he himself utter them through your lips. And I cannot teach you the prayer of the seas and the forest and the mountains. But you who are born of the mountains and the forest and the seas can find their prayer in your heart. And if you but listen in the stillness of the night, you shall hear them saying in silence, Our God, who art our winged self, it is thy will in us that willeth. It is thy desire in us that desireth. It is thy urge in us that would turn our nights, which are thine, into days which are also thine. We cannot ask thee for aught, for thou knowest our needs before they are born in us. Thou art our need, and in giving us more of thyself, thou givest us all. Take this into the silence.
I'm reading from The Holy Man this evening, written by Susan Trott, and it's called The Journey. There was a holy man who lived in a hermitage on a mountain. Although solitary, it was not strictly a hermitage because some other monks lived there with him. Even before the word got out about him, he was rarely alone. When word got out, people came to see him during the summer months when the hermitage was accessible. First a few people, then more, a long line, hundreds, thousands, climbing up that steep mountain path, single file, some of whom never made it to the door before the snows came. There were no inns, for the pilgrims had to prepare for camp, so it was a hardship if the weather was not good. But in the summer, it was very nice and dry. Flowers planked the path, and at night the stars were spectacular. However, it did take strength to carry the pack and the gear and the food, so anyone who was frail was really unable to make the journey. He was also not a healer. The line moved slowly, but moved continuously. During the few hours of the day, he welcomed people. In fact, those who were at the beginning of the line were amazed at how many people he managed to see, even though they were admitted one at a time. Sometimes the pilgrims had to step aside for one of the monks who lived with the holy man, as he or she stepped rapidly up the mountain carrying supplies for the monk from 10 miles down. These men and women were easily distinguished by their wheat-colored robes. Those in the line never saw the departing pilgrims who went out the back door, down the path, to the bottom of the mountain, because the upward path, which was called Hermitage Trail, was too narrow to take two-way traffic. But when the door opened wide, the next pilgrim in line is standing at the waiting gate, would be summoned forth by a man in a wheat-colored robe, nondescript-looking person. Yes, I would ask when the pilgrim reached the threshold. I've come to see the holy man. Follow me, please. In no time, they had passed through the entire first floor of the house and were at a large door similar to the one they came in. It was the back door. The monk opened it wide and said, "Goodbye, but I've come to see the holy man." "You have seen me," he gently replied. And the next thing the pilgrim knew, he was outside the door, solidly closed behind him. Now, most times the holy man might say, well, if you look at everyone as a holy person, you might be happy. But what did the pilgrim feel about being given such a short shift after that long inchworm trudge up that mountain, 10 miles? Well, when the door shut, departure, some felt wronged, hurt, disappointed, betrayed, ill-used, and angry. Somewhat dazed because of this whole experience, they began to review their visit to the holy man, and they began to understand. There were no bolts, no peepholes for protection. The door had been opened wide, and the one-man reception committee had stood there, eyes alight with a smile on his face, saying, "Yes, how may I help you?" The pilgrim realized he had not greeted him at all, not introduced himself, not said, "Hello, how are you? May I come in?" Instead, full of his own importance, his own mission, had treated the door opener as a lowest servant, saying, "I've come to see the holy man." The door opener, realizing the visitor's mission, had already been accomplished, so he showed him out. The pilgrim tried to remember what the holy man looked like, and he couldn't because he never even looked at him. Next year, when he came, he would be more courteous and respectful to whomever opened that door. In fact, he would be gracious to everyone from now on, imagining that everyone was a holy man. realizing everyone indeed had holiness in them. The pilgrim's heart swelled as he went down that mountain, exulting, "I have seen the holy man. I have seen the holy man. And all is well with my soul."
As we begin to bring our service this evening to a close, I want to invite you to an opportunity to be transported through the gift of music. We have been blessed with an opportunity that doesn't come around, actually hasn't come around ever, for a place this size. On October 2nd, Peter Cater, who is an internationally known composer and pianist, awards like you can't even imagine. The man is magnificent. God truly speaks through him, through his fingers, to the piano keys. You do not want to miss this concert. He typically has concerts for tens of thousands of people, and he's decided now at this point in his career that he wants to have more intimate time with people. So he will be here October 2nd at Unity of Sarasota. There are flyers in the lobby. Please take one, share it with people you know. You do not want to miss this. You do not want to miss this. I've got goosebumps just thinking about it. I can't believe that they picked us. Of all the Unity churches in all the world, they picked us. So please know that this is truly a gift. And knowing that, it really allows us to take what we have come together and experience this evening. We get to take it with us into tonight and tomorrow and the rest of the week and the rest of the month and on into next month when Peter is with us with his gorgeous music. And he, with his music, will remind us what we've learned this evening, that all is well with my soul. I'm going to invite you to say that with me right now. All is well with my soul. Allow that to be a mantra for you for the next little while or forever. It's a good one. All is well with my soul. Remember that, especially in the times when you have a little committee on your shoulder telling you something different. All is well with my soul. And right now we also have an opportunity from that wellness of soul, from that deep well within us where we know we are provided for, where we are supported. We have an opportunity now to keep the flow of goodness going. And so if you feel moved to leave a gift with us this evening, we so appreciate it. Your gift may be a prayer, I hope so. A blessing, I hope so. It might be monetary, it might be your talent, it may be your presence. Whatever it is, hold the gift close to yourself. Infuse it with the energy of all is well with my soul. And know that that energy travels with your prayer, your blessing, your gift, whatever it may be. And know that truly we are blessed and a blessing. And for this remembrance of the truth, I am eternally grateful. And together we say, thank God within and all around us. Amen.
All is well, all is well. Love, grace, and peace prevail. All is well, all is well.
Namaste. Blessings on your journey. Amy, do you want to say anything to our friends before they leave?
I